Now that we are a few weeks into the European Championship, a few players are definitely catching the eye of many. One of them is the Italian defender Riccardo Calafiori, who has been a star for Italy in their games. And with recent rumours to Arsenal, I think he could be a brilliant signing for the Gunners to make this year and could help transform the backline in multiple positions. Now, despite Calafiori having a brilliant Euro so far and really making waves with a lot of people noticing him, of course the start for Italy has to be noticed before and was obviously doing brilliant things. He came through Roma's academy and played predominantly as a left back for their team, but he struggled to get in it and at a young age was not really trusted to ever play consistently. This led him to end up going to Basel in 2022, where he had a really good loan out in the Swiss league, which saw him come straight back to Serie A year later under the brilliant Bologna last year. Now, last season Bologna were brilliant under Thiago Motta and ended up securing Champions League football for the first time since 1965. A lot of their players we spoke about before, such as Xerxes, who has been linked to United and Arsenal. The real star of their season was definitely Calafiori. He moved into a more centre-back role, which he hadn't really played at before he joined Bologna, and that has been the role he has stayed with the whole time. He is a left-footed defender, which shows why he played left-back and has played as a wing-back before, and he is tactically capable of playing in a back three or a back four. He is known for brilliant anticipation as well as great aggression and physical style, and he's great at putting pressure onto attacking players, being very quick on them and not letting them get away. Now, despite him being a very physical player and being very good at that sort of thing, he is brilliantly technically and has brilliant attacking stats Bologna as well, being able to bring the ball forward with ease. Now, he is expected to be able to replicate these stats at a high level, not only because it's the first year he was really proven in that position, but it's just how well he played there as well. His passing level is very good to start with. He is around 62 passes per game and is completing around 89% of his passes. His short passing has a really high level for a defender, and his medium range passing is also at a very encouraging level, around 30 per game. He also does make his passes mean something for a defender, making around 3.5 progressive passes per 90 and 3.5 passes into the final third. Now, he is actually quite an attacking defender with around 1.7 shot creating actions, which is in the top 3% of defenders, and around 0.2 assists per 90. So weirdly enough, he's actually getting forward into progressive areas and actually creating things even though he's so far deep. Now, while his passing is definitely very good, the one reason why Calafiori is really known by everyone is his progressive running and how good he is at running with the ball. Now, if you've seen the clip from the Italian game where he pretty much took the game by the scruff of the neck and made a 1-2 and ran up the whole pitch to get the assist to send Italy through in the last minute, then this is not a one-off for this player. He actually does this a lot throughout the season for Bologna. He likes having a brilliant involvement around the game, making sure he has around 80 touches per game and making touches anywhere around the pitch. He gets around 6 in the attacking third, around 40 per game in the middle half, and 36 in the defensive half. And all these levels for a defensive player is actually very high. He's around the whole pitch the whole time. But he is so good at running with the ball. He makes nearly one take on a game and gets around 0.5 of them, so he's winning one every 2, and he's making around 50 carries per 90. His total carrying distance is very high, but his progressive carrying also is very encouraging at 1 per game and 1 into the final third. Having a defender that can step up and run through the middle of attacking pressure coming on makes him very press resistant, and it also makes him a brilliant ability to get the ball out, while also being a brilliant clutch player if you need that player just to take the game by the scruff and run at the other team. Now, this is a very unique thing that you see a lot of great modern defenders do, and it's something that big teams will definitely be looking for. But his technical ability is not just why, also he is a brilliant defender. He can do the defensive work as well, playing for Bologna, who, although had a great season, are a team that is going to get pressed quite a lot, and teams are going to try and pressure them rather than sitting back against maybe some top teams you would see. Now, overall, a lot of his defensive stats are very good, or at least very encouraging. His tackle stats are around 2 per game, and he's winning about 1.3, are very encouraging. And even though he's making most of his defensive work in the final third for his own team or the midfield, he does do a little bit 0.1 in the attacking third, so he doesn't mind taking that risk of going up and winning the ball back higher up the pitch. He also has brilliant anticipation. His interceptions are around 2 per game, and his tackle and interception numbers are around 3.7 per game, put him in the top 8% of players in Europe. And although he definitely can be aggressive at winning the ball back and being close on the defenders, he is not always as bad at running back and waiting for things to happen. He's got great anticipation and can see things usually before they happen to make the decision and the tackle come through. And one of the most important things that I think Arsenal specifically look at is obviously duel percentage 1, and his duel percentage 1 around 71% puts him in the top 5% of defenders in Europe. He's winning around 2.5 aerials per game and losing around 1, which means he's not losing many even if he isn't getting into many himself. Now this player is obviously a talent, you can see that, but why do I think Arsenal should try and buy this player? Well, it comes down to need of what we actually want. I think Arsenal this season should look at a backup centre-back replacement just in case we have any problems with Gabriel and Saliba on the way. Now in a way, if Saliba gets injured, you could always move Ben White there and maybe bring in another player to play fullback such as Timber in right back and then play one of the left backs, which does work. But if Gabriel was to get injured, it necessarily wouldn't be the same outcome. Arsenal have wanted someone that can replace Gabriel's play in left centre back but also can be a good player in left back if needed. This is why Kivior was signed, and he is brilliant in centre back but can't really do the job in left back overall. This is why I think if you were to sell Jakub Kivior to Juventus, who also want Calafiori, it could be a brilliant opportunity to get this player in for a little bit more money maybe, but overall it probably wouldn't cost too much because we have a good relationship with Bologna. He could always be a great backup to Gabriel, and looking at their specific stats last season, obviously he is a little bit lower in a lot of things compared to Gabriel, but you can see the same sort of outcome there. He played nearly 700 minutes less and was only a few fouls won behind and a few clearances, while having a brilliant take on success and having a brilliant potential at bringing the ball forward from the defence. And I don't really think Arsenal are probably going to look at defender too much on defensive stats, because ultimately most games they don't have to do too much defending. It's just about being diligent, being brilliant at running and being a great passer, and I think this guy brings all of that in the team. He can be brilliant in possession and keep the ball, and he can always drive forward if you needed to later on, and if you wanted to you could always put him in left back. As a fullback he did show he was capable of getting forward and providing crosses. You see how good he is with the progressive running. He can also do that down there, and that's definitely what he learned from being a fullback in the first place. And his brilliant recovery status of winning the ball back from the ball being loose, around 7 per game last year, is exactly what I think Arsenal should be looking for. And I think around 40 mil, maybe 45 mil, I think it should be a deal that Arsenal definitely try and look at. There's obviously a lot of teams that want him. He's been rumoured to a lot of other Prem teams. People like Juve want him as well. But I think if Arsenal want to adapt and get better, this is the sort of player you've got to look at. He's young, only being 22 years old. And if he has another season at a top level or goes to another team, he may be ungettable for the rest of his career. He's a player that very much would probably love to stay in Italy, but if you get him now when he's ready for the step up, I think it could be a perfect signing for Arsenal. Let me know in the comments who you think Arsenal should buy in their defence, or do you think we should even make this sign in the first place? Have you liked the player, or have you not known much about him before this video? Let me know down in the comments what you think. It'd also be nice to know what videos you guys want to see. I haven't really known what to do in the last few weeks, so it'd be interesting to see what you guys say, because I'll definitely take it on board.